$10,830. That's the federal guideline for poverty for a single person in this country. But for some people, reaching that number seems virtually impossible.
Not for Michelle Roller. The Fayetteville native came from an abusive family and has lived below the poverty line for most of her life. Now she is headed to law school.
I never thought that I would succeed or that I had much value. And so this, and I've spent my life sabotaging myself in so many ways. And I think that's what a lot of people in poverty do. They sabotage themselves.
The poverty guidelines for a family of four is just slightly over $20,000, $22,050 for a family of four for annual salary. And if you think about that, that's just not a lot of money. That's their gross income too. If you think about taking out taxes with that, maybe that's a family of four trying to survive on $1,300 a month. When you start taking away rent, when you take away food for a family of four, when you take away probably a car payment in their utilities, there's just not a lot left for excessive spending.
More than 20% of Washington County residents live in poverty. Rogers, Bentonville, Springdale, and Fayetteville combined had 23,000 people living in poverty in 2000. Northwest Arkansas is projected to have the largest population of poverty in the state by 2015.
Northwest Arkansas has lagged behind in the social services that we've offered up here. And I don't know if it was because the wealth up here was driving things for so long, but we now are asking the state to look at our population, look at the needs, and not divide the state up into 5 different sections and give everybody the same amount of money. That's essentially what has happened for a number of years. We're asking them to be accountable to the people, look where they are, and provide funding based on where the population that most needs it is located.
Even when living below the poverty line, the government provides means for food and shelter. The state of Arkansas provides food stamps to those with less than $2,000 worth of assets. Lower income housing exists thanks to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, which has provided Michelle Roller with housing over the years.
I've lived at Washington Plaza. They're actually not a project per se. There's some houses that are projects that are run by HUD. And then there's some like Washington Plaza that are privately owned that get HUD financing. And there's a big difference. I remember living in Carlson Terrace with 3 kids to go to school in the 80s. And the building's gone.
Affording health care is especially hardest for those living in poverty. Even the federal program, Medicaid, can't cover everyone in Arkansas, as it is mostly reserved for elderly or children. Children living below the poverty line are eligible for Our Kids First, the state's Medicaid program. Despite the eligibility, the state only allows a certain number of children per doctor, causing shortages. Kathy Grisham of the community clinic knows this and is doing something about it.
One of the requirements that the federal government puts on us for the money that they give us, which is about 18 to 20% of our budget, is that we collect income data on our patients, and they have to fall within 200% of poverty in order to qualify for our discounts.
One of the biggest criticisms of social services is people's over-reliance on them and the proclivity of those who use it to remain poor.
Only if they choose to, because why would they want to stay on the system and continue having nothing? Because that's what it comes down to. They will never have anything if they continue to just abuse the system and not try to do something better.
Are there people that just work the system? And there may be. But our focus is on all the people that we help who wouldn't have another place to go if we weren't there.
Reporting for On the Hill, I'm Jose Lopez.